bed with a backache. And I started thinking about a dress I used to wear, so I drew a picture. Then I thought of another one. And I drew that one. And when I finished, I thought, these dresses tell a story. My brownie uniform. My brownie uniform. My brownie uniform. My mother was our brownie leader at Hunter College Elementary School on 69th Street between Lexington and Park. Even though she was our brownie leader, she never got a brownie leader's uniform because it was too expensive. A handmade brown dress coat with brown leggings and galoshes.
Gingy, put on your leggings.
I hated putting on my leggings, which were held up by suspenders, and I always had tantrums. I will not.
You have to put on your leggings if you want to play in the snow.
No, I don't.
If you don't, you know what's going to happen. You'll get polio.
You can't imagine how many ways there was to get polio. You could get it from swimming pools. You could get it from drinking water. And most terrifying of all, you could get it from swallowing a fly. My mother was always knitting mittens for my sister and me. We lived at 333 East 66th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue in a first-floor railroad flat that faced the front. My mother made this green wool jersey dress embroidered with red cherries for my sister Blossom. But everyone called her Tootsie. Everyone called me Gingy because I was born with ginger color hair. My mother was a large, handsome woman who didn't wear fancy clothes. Maybe because we couldn't afford them. Once my grandmother surprised her with a silver fox for her birthday. Oh, was it Mother's Day? I can't remember which. My mother tried it on, but she never wore it after that day. She usually wore a dark print dress and brown shoes with a buckle, and she wore glasses. But whenever I drew her picture, I always forgot to put on the glasses. Her face was just a beautiful, beautiful shape. My mother made this black taffeta outfit too. She made all of my sister and my clothes, but what I really wanted was a store-bought outfit. Sometimes I take the crosstown bus to ballet arts, and my mother let me go by myself, but she had to walk me to the bus stop.
Gingy, what is that smell?
What smell?
Oh, you know perfectly well what smell.
It was perfume. It was taboo. But I smelled like a...
You smell like a bordello. You were too young to wear perfume.
Tootsie wears perfume.
Tootsie is 17. You are only 12 years old. You're still a baby.
I am not a baby.
Oh, and you smell so sweet without it. When you were a little girl, I used to just bury my head in your neck and inhale.
She used to just bury her head in my neck and inhale. Oh, the spring after my mother died, my father took me to B. Altman's department store on 5th Avenue to buy a dress for my 13th birthday. We were both so sad. But when we got to the teen department, my father said, "Today is Gingy's 13th birthday and we need help finding her a dress." Everyone rushed out to help us because my father was so handsome. He was 6 feet tall. I picked 2 navy blue dresses and couldn't decide between them. I was in agony. You don't have to decide because you know what? I'm buying them both. And he made them gift wrap them. That was a long time ago and you didn't have to pay to have things gift wrapped. I wore this one to my 13th birthday party. One day, my grandmother came and she got my sister and me. And she decided we were going to live with her and Grandpa and Aunt Babby. I never saw my father again.
When I was 13,
my mother went to Montreal.
New York City,
And she brought me back. Not a twin set of adorable cashmere sweaters.
not a CPO, which was a jacket that looked like a shirt made out of black wool, and I wanted one so badly.
Not a pair of capezios.
Or bell-bottom jeans, which had just come in, and everybody had them, but me. but instead,
A pair of socks.
an outfit.
The loudest, ugliest, long socks.
No one was wearing outfits.
They were striped.
My whole class at Scarsdale High School was dressing like hippies, and she bought me an outfit for my birthday.
The socks were meant to be worn
Mid-thigh.
mid-thigh, she said, and they were French.
They're from Paris.
Cigarette smoking, finger thin Frenchies wore them.
They're très chic.
And I was not thin. Did I mention that? And they were striped.
Everyone is wearing them.
They are.
Brown plaid wool pants, an ivory silk blouse with a bow tie, and a crocheted vest just to pull it all together. I went ballistic. What is this? I can't believe you bought me this. I hate this.
What's wrong with it?
Everything? What have I ever done to make you think I would ever even put this outfit on? It looks like something you would wear.
I only wish I could wear something like that. It's a beautiful...
Outfit? Like anyone wears outfits.
At least try it on. You look adorable.
I do not. I'm taking it back.
You can't take it back.
Why not? Because it was on sale? You bought me a birthday present that was on sale? What if I didn't like it, which I don't?
You are an ungrateful girl. You are a horrible, ungrateful girl. You don't appreciate anything.
My life is over just from wearing it in the house.
Fine.
Fine.
I'll never buy you anything again.
Good, I don't care. The next year on my birthday, she gave me a paperback copy of Between Parent and Child and a frozen Sara Lee banana cake because I didn't appreciate anything anyway. My mother.
You look adorable.
Do I?
The French have the best sense of style.
So the next day I put on my new socks and I got on my bike to go to school and I felt very daring and très chic. Until a quarter of a mile, until I passed Michael Sherman, the boy I'd been in love with for 2 years. And the second I saw him and he started laughing, I knew it was all wrong. Mom had completely deceived me. She never had a clue about style, so of course, big laughs behind my back all day long. Even one of my teachers said something. It was bad. And the worst thing was, when I told my mom, when I sobbed how humiliated I was, she thought it was funny.
If you wear them again tomorrow, everyone will think it's the new trend. That's how trends start, you know.
My mother.
Do not wear stripes and prints together.
Loafers will ruin your feet.
Stop tugging at your crotch, Samantha.
If you wear a girdle, you will destroy your stomach muscles.
Always wear clean underpants in case you die in a car accident.
You never wear that dress. Do you know how much I paid for it?
Never buy a red coat.
I saw your friend Stephanie at the mall yesterday. Is she wearing that blouse I bought you?
Go right back upstairs and take that off.
Nice Jewish girls do not get their ears pierced.
You'd be so pretty if you...
Lost weight.
Gained weight.
Didn't make faces.
Fixed your nose.
Cut your hair.
Combed your hair.
Washed your hair.
Keep your hair out of your eyes.
Stood up straight.
Ate fruit?
Put on a little lipstick.
Took off all that makeup.
Oh, honey, you look so beautiful.
Just looking at you, I'm going to cry.
My little baby is all grown up.
You are so pretty.
Don't you know how pretty you are?
You're pretty enough for all normal purposes. Is that what you're wearing?
Are you wearing that deliberately to annoy me?
Never wear white before Memorial Day.
Never wear white after Labor Day.
Never wear white.
You're much too young to be wearing black.
Never wear black pants with a white shirt or you'll look like the caterer's help.
Never wear velvet before Rosh Hashanah.
What did you do to your hair?
Is that a tattoo?
If you wear that, you're gonna be sent home from breaking the dress code.
Take that off, you look like a slut.
You look like a prostitute.
You look like a gypsy.
You look like a bag lady.
You look like a waitress in a Hungarian restaurant.
I don't understand. You could look so good if you just tried.
I don't know why I buy you things.
A tiara? You want me to buy you a tiara? Where are you planning on wearing a tiara?
Oh, your bra strap is showing. What do you mean it's supposed to show?
The truth is, I have no fashion sense. I never did. For many years, I blamed this on my mom's death. I mean, then again, I blame pretty much everything on my mom's death. My weight, my addiction to television, my inability to spell. In my, fantasy world, had my mother lived, I would be extremely well-dressed. Everything I tried on would fit. And Mom and I would go shopping, at all those places that, moms and daughters go. Like, an outlet mall, a department store, even the flea market. And I'd wear a lot of tasteful makeup, too. And, God, we'd, lunch someplace, while shopping. It'd be at, a cafe where I'd have a salad and like it. And we'd laugh about how great our lives turned out and think about all the stuff we were still going to do together. But that's all a dream. Because my mom did not live. She died when she was 39. The fact is that, no item of clothing has ever moved me in any way, except for one. After my mom died, my dad decided to move his 5 motherless children to Belfast, Northern Ireland. I guess he thought we could best recover from the trauma of our mom dying by living in a war zone. But the IRA was actually nowhere near as scary as what had just happened to our lives. I remember when we finally returned, we just found my mom's side of the closet empty. All her clothes were just gone. A few years later, my dad got remarried to this lovely woman. She was she was a school teacher named Mary May. After they got married, she moved in. And I remember the first morning she was there, my siblings and I were all just sitting around eating breakfast when my new stepmom just walked downstairs and into the kitchen. God, it was no one said a word. She was wearing this long burgundy velour, 3/4 sleeves zip bathrobe with that thick vertical stripe right down the middle in white. My mom had that same bathrobe in blue. Electric blue. There was this unspoken rule in my house after my mom died, and her name was just never mentioned. But I knew that morning that rule was finally going to be broken. My siblings just left the kitchen, and I was alone with Mary. Mary, I said, my mom had that same bathrobe in blue. She said. And the robe just disappeared. Gone. Sent away to that same place all my mom's clothes went, I assume. to this day, that bathrobe is the only piece of clothing I can actually see in my mind. I have no visuals of prom dresses or favorite sweater or shoes I just couldn't live without. Clothes are just something I use for cover, leaving room for this one electric bloom.
If I could draw, I would draw you the dress that my mother gave me when I was 5 years old. It was my favorite dress ever. It had long sleeves, and it was this charcoal gray wool with a big white a lace pilgrim collar, and a black satin bow in the middle, and lace cuffs. A few months after my mother gave me that dress, my father, who was a doctor, sent my mother to a mental hospital, moved his nurse into our house, divorced my mother, and married the nurse. We had a cleaning lady who came in once a week who had a daughter a little younger than me. And my stepmother used to give her my hand-me-downs. One day, I couldn't find my beautiful dress. I'd asked my stepmother if she'd seen it. "It'll turn up," she said. A week later, I went to school, and during recess, I found my dress on the cleaning lady's daughter. I couldn't believe it. I ran up to her and I grabbed her by the collar, screaming, "That's my dress, that's my dress, that's my dress!" over and over again until the recess monitor pulled us apart. And the little girl stood there, shaking and crying. And I stood there, shaking and crying, holding my satin bow in my fist. The school didn't punish me because they understood. But I remember wishing they had punished me. Shame on me, and my stepmother too.
We lived with my grandparents in a brownstone building at 743 Madison Avenue between 65th and 66th Street. They owned a stationery store on street level. It was called Harry Goldberg's, and we lived above the store. My grandmother had very beautiful, long, silver gray hair that she twisted on top of her head in a bun. She believed in two cures for everything. Hot tea for anything that was wrong inside the body, and Vaseline for anything that was wrong outside. Here's what she always said: "It's as easy to fall in love with a rich man as it is with a poor man." That is not true. Why do people say that? It's not true. My Aunt Babby had enormous breasts. Once I saw her naked, and it scared me. My best friend Dora, she had a beauty mark over the side of her eyebrow. She lived at 22 East 65th Street, right across the street from me. And we used to lean out the window together and shout things at the people who were passing, like, "Hey, mister, you're going bald!" We thought we were hilarious. Dora's mom was a dressmaker for very rich ladies. And when Dora went someplace special, her mother would say, "Take Gingy along." She lent me this peach satin strapless gown when Dora and I went to the Choate School for Boys in Connecticut. We were there for the weekend, and the preppy girls, they were so mean to us. They called us whores, probably because we were necking with our dates the whole weekend. This is the Carrollwood jersey dress I bought for a date with Walter Fenton. I was madly in love with Walter Fenton. Every time we'd go out, Walter begged me to go all the way. Finally, at a fraternity party in Dartmouth Winter College, he told me that he couldn't see me anymore because necking was just too painful. He went off to have a beer and he left me sitting on the floor. And after a long time, he came back and he said he was going to drive me back to the place where I was supposed to spend the night. Well, I said I didn't want to go. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, I want to spend the night with you. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yes. So we did it. And that's when I found out that once you have sex, once you do something, you have to keep doing it. At the end of my freshman year, I thought I was pregnant and I had no idea what to do. So I went to my sociology professor at Simmons College for advice. He had taught a class on marriage and the family, and I thought he could help me. Well, it turned out I wasn't pregnant, but by that time, Walter had vanished.
This is such a painful subject.
My first bra.
I can't even talk about my first bra.
May Company.
Macy's.
Nordstrom's.
Bloomingdale's at a bra sale, and I was nearly trampled to death.
My father took me. I still can't talk about it.
Bras, breasts, the whole works. This is a very, very painful subject.
I was always trying on bras.
My aunt had this really big one, and I used to put it on my head.
My first bra was like 2 triangles. I got it at Jordan Marsh, and it was awful because there was this really cute guy there with his girlfriend, and my mom just kept yelling across the store, Julia, what are you doing over there? The training bras are over here.
My mom, she used to say, if you don't wear a bra, you're gonna get pendulum breasts.
It was a 28 AA, you know, like tiny, but not tiny enough. And when I put it on, there were like these tiny empty puffs on my chest. And the saleswoman told me to lean over. So I leaned over, hoping that breasts would magically tumble out of my body and into the bra, but they didn't.
Well, I bought a blow-up bra. You know, the bras that came with the plastic balloon inserts, and they came with a tiny plastic straw that you put into the insert and blew up to the size you wanted. So one day I was wearing them and talking to this cute guy that I had a crush on, and then one side just collapsed right off.
It was something about your dad.
Yeah, you couldn't run around the house naked anymore.
You couldn't sit on your dad's lap.
The breasts, the bra, the divide.
My mom's friend worked at Bloomingdale's when I was in college, and she recommended the Minimizer. It's a spandex bra that flattens your boobs about a cup size. I was totally excited about it because I was so self-conscious about my breast. I wore the bra to the veterinary hospital where I was a technician, and the bra kind of gave me this mono boob kind of look. There was this crazy Indian substitute vet there, and he said, please, don't take this personally, but I have to say, there's something wrong with your boob. I said, I don't know you, and I don't appreciate your comments about my boobs. They are none of your business. First time I ever stood up for my boobs.
Well, someone gave me a cashmere halter top that needed a bra to make it work. So I go to the town shop on Broadway and tell the saleswoman, Marveline, my size. And she immediately tells me I'm wrong. All you girls think you should be going up inches, but you should be going up a cup size. Okay? I am deposited into something that maybe is a dressing room, but it looks more like a tiny closet with a mirror and a case of paper towels. I'm strapped into my strapless when the curtain is parted like the Red Sea. My linebacker saleswoman commands me to bend over. Then she grabs me and my bra and hoists us up until I can feel the blood changing direction in my body. She reaches in, cups my breasts with her hands, and shifts them. Then she invites all the other saleswomen in to look at me. Everyone cheers. I look in the mirror. I realize that I am a new woman. And it took Marveline feeling me up in the closet to get there.
My junior prom dress was powder blue and white, and it was ribbed. It had tiny ribs like along the waistline. It was a white waistband, and then it also had a white band along the bottom and poofed out kind of like Cinderella, and a big powder blue bow. The problem was my date. He rang the bell, and I opened the door, and there he was, in a powder blue tuxedo with a white frilly shirt and a powder blue bow. We matched. It was mortifying. But I didn't really like him. And I was sort of the last person to be asked to the prom. Not the very last, but almost the very last. So I didn't really have much of a choice of my date or in what he wore. And I had a horrible time at the prom. And then afterwards, we went to a field and tipped cows. My senior prom was completely different. My prom dress was short and black, and it was kind of in that like 1980s Madonna style, like the Like a Virgin phase, and it was tight on top, and it poofed down in a black net poof, and I had black lace gloves. My prom date was also short, and he was dark and handsome, and we drank champagne in the back of his car and made out, and it was great. But here's the thing. I've never really known for sure which of those two people I am. The person who hardly gets asked to the prom at all, or the girl who gets to go with the really, really cute guy. And every time I thought I knew which one it was, I turned out to be the other. So I think that's one of the reasons I got married, to like end the confusion.
Any American woman under the age of 30 that says she's never dressed up as Madonna is either lying or Amish.
Madonna represents sexual freedom.
Third wave feminism.
Individuality.
And fabulous fashion.
Last year for Halloween, we all dressed up as Madonna from 4 different stages of her career.
I was desperately seeking Susan Madonna. I wore a black t-shirt cut to reveal my stomach, silver necklaces tied in lariats, a huge black skirt, and red Converse sneakers.
I was blonde ambition tour Madonna, you know, like a tight black leotard, fishnet stockings, a headset. Oh, and this was the really, really brilliant part. I painted 2 black party hats to make a big black pointy bra.
Well, I was Express Yourself Madonna. I wore a man's suit, I rocked a red lip, and I cut slashes in my suit so that my bra showed through.
And I was Patty Hearst Madonna. I wore that cute little hat that Patty wore when she robbed the bank, and a trench coat, and a fake gun strapped across my chest.
Anyway, these costumes and a whole lot of cosmos totally freed us.
I made out with a girl.
Oh my gosh, I made out with a bunch of gay men.
I practically got into a fist fight with another group of girls who were all dressed as
Madonna! And whenever Vogue came on, we totally hit the floor.
Vogue, 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 Vogue.
I felt so hot in my gang sweater. I was 15, and it was the first thing that I'd ever had tailor-made for me. The only thing ever, now that I think about it, I just joined this gang called the Latin Chantels. We were the chicas of the Latin Chancellors. You know, the guys who hang out on 27th and Normal Streets in Chicago. Anyway, the sweater was hip length and bad. It was black with royal blue trim on the collar and on the pockets, but the best part about it was the emblem. It was this big, puffy rendition of some long time ago coat of arms that had been designed by Lemons, the warlord of the Latin chancellors. And it was sewn onto the sweater right here, you know, above your heart. I wore my sweater with those black stretch pants, you know, the kind with the little straps that go under your feet. Oh. I knew that I looked cool in my gang sweater. So cool that on the first day that I wore it, Lemons asked to walk me home. Oh, I was in heaven walking through the dark streets of Chicago with Lemons by my side. When he pulled me into a doorway and started kissing me, I could barely breathe. When he unbuttoned my blouse, I shuddered. When he put his hand underneath my sweater, right under the emblem that he designed, oh, I knew that it was meant to be. Lemons never spoke to me again after that day. He fell madly in love with Irma, the president of the Latin Capris. Their sweaters are black with purple trim. Cool.
I got my first pair of boots when I was 14. They were suede, and they were the answer to my need to be identified as a brooding, wounded, but potentially brilliant artistic subspecies of female with practically no genetic makeup to my miserable, screaming family. My dog Corky got them confused with an entree and ate a hole in them. So I took a bus to Sausalito and got a new pair. They were olive green leather and came up to my knees. By the time I got to Berkeley, where I was an art student, I was all boots all the time. Freshman year, I had 2 pair. One was golden brown, the other was deeper brown, and I wore them with really, really short skirts. I thought my boots gave me kind of a mysterious bohemian charisma, tough but tender, rugged but sensuous, poetic but unself-conscious, like Joni Mitchell. It was a really happy time in my life. And then one night, when I was sleeping, a guy broke into my apartment and raped me. They never caught him. I've no reason to believe that he'd even seen me before that night. But after the rape, when I walked down the streets of Berkeley in my boots and my short skirts, it felt like everyone was staring at me. So I gave my short skirts to Goodwill. But not my boots. I love boots.
What do you think?
Does this go in or out?
What is this length?
I can't even zip it up.
The only reason I can't zip it up is I have my period.
Oh my God, I'm up a size.
This'll fit if I lose 5 pounds.
This will fit if I lose 10 pounds?
This will fit if I have lipo.
His doesn't fit.
Do you think this can be let out?
This doesn't fit now, but I always lose weight in May.
I don't know who this is cut for.
But I'm a 6. I've always been a 6.
Does this come in an 8?
Does this come in a 12?
Does this come in a 14/16?
Does this make me look pregnant?
I can't decide.
What color is this?
I can't wear gray.
Yellow makes me look sick.
I look so pale and green.
It's so red.
It's so red.
Is this black or navy blue?
I can't buy another black turtleneck sweater.
I can't buy another white t-shirt.
Oh my God. I look like my mother.
What am I supposed to wear with this?
Does this match?
If you're not buying that, could I try that on?
Does this run small?
Is there something wrong with the lighting in here?
Is this mirror, like, distorted?
It doesn't fit.
Look, I can't wear anything without sleeves.
I can't wear anything low.
I'd kill myself.
My butt is falling.
Is my butt falling?
Oh my God, my butt fell. Does this make me look fat?
Tell me the truth.
I can't decide.
I can't decide.
I can't decide.
I can't decide.
Last summer, I lost my favorite shirt. Or to be more accurate, my favorite shirt just simply vanished into thin air. When I got home from being away for the summer and I unpacked my bags, the shirt never simply materialized. And I have replayed the sequence of events in my mind several times, and I have theories about what happened to it, but the fact remains that the shirt just ceased to be. The really sad part was this came at the end of summer when that shirt had gradually revealed itself as the perfect shirt. You know, it was flattering, I always looked pretty in it, I liked the color and the cut, it went with all my favorite pants. It was casual and dressed down, you know, and not crappy and falling apart. It was comfortable. It was one of those shirts you have to make yourself not wear because it seemed every day's outfit was simply improved by it. And as silly as it sounds, I'm generally happier when I have clothes like this in my life, when there's something I know I can put on and feel good in. I mean, something to fall back on. So when I realized the shirt was gone, I couldn't think of anything else I owned that served remotely the same function, and I felt cheated out of something like truly rare and precious and, oh my God. I just realized that I sound like I'm talking about death or about like a lost love. I mean, maybe I am. You know, it's probably worth noting that about my relationship with my boyfriend was ending about the same time that I lost the shirt. But I could have sworn to you that I was not transferring my feelings about the loss of my boyfriend onto the shirt, but I was actually mourning the loss of the shirt itself. You know, okay, the main lesson to be learned from this experience came from the purchase of 8 different shirts. You know, which each had the same likeness to the lost shirt, whether it be in color, cut, you know, material, casualness, but none of them in any way replaced it. And eventually I had to resolve to be thankful for the time I had with the shirt. And at least I know what I'm looking for.
Pink satin princess style dress I bought at Filene's Basement in Boston for my marriage to Harry M. Johnson. I was 20 and Harry was 37. Harry was my sociology professor at Simmons. We were married at his best friend's house in Dobbs Ferry. There was no food, only champagne and wedding cake. My grandmother and Aunt Babby came to the wedding. My grandfather wouldn't come because he thought Harry was too old for me, and besides, he was Catholic. Here are the words my grandmother uttered on this occasion. "You're killing me!" One day, I'm coming down the front steps of my apartment, and there was Walter Fenton. He had joined the Navy. He looked so handsome in his uniform. He came up to me and he said, "Gingy, why did you do it?" And he kissed my cheek and my hand and he walked away. I would love to tell you that nothing good ever happened to Walter Fenton. I would love to tell you that he became a used car salesman. But the truth is, he won a Pulitzer Prize. The prick. Iridescent brocade Chinese-style dinner dress I bought in Cambridge for a New Year's Eve party. Harry convinced me to buy this dress, even though it was expensive. He said it showed off my arms, and he thought my arms were pretty. The party was at the home of Harry's friends, Penny and Becky. They were married. I idolized Penny. She carried her diaphragm in her purse, which was very cool, but strange. I wondered about it at the time, because isn't the whole point of getting married that you don't have to carry your diaphragm in your purse? Anyway, at midnight, I got very upset because I couldn't find Harry. Then I saw him. He was kissing Penny. Harry, I said, and you know what he said? Of course you know what he said. He said, it's not what you think. Ha, ha. But it was exactly what I thought. So that was that. I was 21 years old, and I was going to be the youngest divorced person in America, except for Elizabeth Taylor.
In the beginning, I remember the jewelry more than I remember the clothes. When I met Ray, we were both married, and we both worked at the same truck dealership. And he used to say that falling in love with me was like lettuce, because when he was a kid, he had colitis. And for a long time, he wasn't allowed to eat any roughage. And he missed it a lot. And when he was finally allowed to have it, his mother introduced it to him, slowly, a little bit of it at a time. It was almost like a religious experience. So he was relishing the look and the taste and the sound and the smell, and it was like coming alive. So the first gift he got me was a ring he had made that spelled lettuce. Lettuce. Still have it, it's a bit tight. Anyway, even before we slept together, he told me how he'd gotten into some trouble and how he was probably going to jail. And then he told me all over again, because he didn't want me to think that he'd misled me. But all I could think about was how much I wanted to go to bed with him. And besides, I was a Gorman, and we were always doing things. My mother and my grandmother had been arrested for making gin in the bathtub. My Auntie Bernice, who was a policewoman, was thrown off the Baltimore abortion squad for arranging abortions. And my cousin Davy faked his own funeral to get out of car payments. So, Ray and I, we fell in love. And he left his wife, and I left my husband, and Ray was sentenced to 7 years. But thank God, at a minimum security prison. And I went up to visit him every weekend. Sometimes I wore a special pair of pants I had. They were loose-fitting, brown cotton. I had cut a hole in the crotch for easy access by Ray's finger. Now, obviously, he didn't get much out of it except for the satisfaction of pleasing me. But he said that he always wanted to show me that he could take better care of me in jail than anybody could take care of me who was not in jail. And of course, we wanted to get something over on the guards, which was the best part, because we wanted to hold on to some freedom. Because they were so horrible to you when they checked you in. They frisked you, and they went through your bags like they controlled you, which they did. Well, Ray got out after 2.5 years. And when I picked him up, I wore a pair of knee-high caramel-colored boots, and a raincoat. And when Ray came out, he had a smile from ear to ear because he knew I had nothing on underneath. And the guards didn't know. By the way, we just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. I'm a state senator. Ray's a life coach. He coaches people on their life. If you live near us, you'd know us. But you wouldn't know the story.
always wanted a pair of black cowboy boots because like I thought that they'd make me sort of like rangy and taller. You know, like a girl named Slim that a guy could really go for. So one day I just wandered into Walker's Western Wear and I bought a pair of Nakonas. They had this beautiful stitching on the side and shit kicker pointy toes. $250. The salesman said that they'd be good for my arches because I have terrible arches.
She's obsessed with her arches.
My older sister.
She's always been obsessed with her arches.
My younger sister. A month later, I met this guy and I fell in love with him, Chase. He actually owned 6 pairs of black cowboy boots. Not Nakonas, but still really nice Tony Lamas. And it actually turned out, as fate would have it, that he turned out to be the same sexy guy I'd seen just standing against a Doric column at the architecture school.
It was Halloween, don't leave that out.
He had a chainsaw through his torso.
How could she resist him?
She couldn't.
Okay, he was a sort of like freckly prepster, and since I was freckly too, there we were, meant to be. Skinny, freckly arms all tangled together.
She followed him to Seattle.
He invited me.
No, he did not.
And one of the reasons he wanted me to move west with him was to get away from his horrible, dysfunctional family in Connecticut. Although, if I ever said his family was dysfunctional, he'd say, whoa, hold it right there. My family is not dysfunctional. If you want to talk about dysfunctional families, what about your family?
What about your sisters?
What about your sisters who hate me?
Which we did.
Because of the way he treated her.
She let him. Couldn't have behaved that way if she hadn't let him.
We discussed it for hours.
Behind her back.
What a jerk he was.
Why is she in love with him?
Why?
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 Where was I?
His incredibly dysfunctional family.
Right. So, he said,
If you're gonna insult my family, I'm out of here.
And she said,
don't go. Please. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. I love you.
I love you.
He was always threatening to leave.
and every time she said,
Don't go. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. I love you.
So guess what? He stayed.
And after a while, I began to suspect that he was actually in love with his family and not with me at all. He'd go home for the holidays every year without me, bearing gifts that I had helped him shop for. And all he'd ever come back with were these old Shetland sweaters that he said reminded him of his childhood. But what I really wanted was for him to come back with this realization that he missed me horribly, that he couldn't live without me, that he wanted to marry me, that he loved me. Or, failing any of that, that he at least wanted me to meet his fucking parents. Which I told him in those very words.
and he said,
If you're gonna insult my family, I'm out of here.
and she said,
Fine.
isn't that amazing?
Fine. Go, leave, who cares? And take those fucking boots with you.
And he left.
Just like that.
After 7 years and 7 horrible Christmases, at which point he owned about 12 pairs of Tony Llamas, and I still had my own well-oiled, well-cared-for pair of Nakonas. He kept the Shetland sweaters and his childhood memories, and I left town and found a really good shrink in Los Angeles.
Where we live.
I have nothing to wear.
Nothing.
Nothing fits.
Nothing fits me. Why did I buy this piece of shit?
Where is it?
I can't find anything in my closet.
I hate my clothes.
Why do I buy such terrible clothes?
I have to clean out my closet.
I absolutely have to.
I should throw this away. If I haven't worn it in 2 years,
3 years.
5 years.
I can't do it.
My mother gave me this.
Who does she think I am?
I can't find my black turtleneck sweater.
Where is it?
I can't find it.
Now I'm sweating.
Why didn't I hang this up? Now I have to iron it.
I have nothing to wear.
Who bought this? Who did I think I was when I bought this?
I totally forgot I bought this.
Did men ever go through this? Choosing the sweater, unchoosing the sweater, choosing the sweater, unchoosing the sweater.
Of course they don't.
What's wrong with me?
Where is it?
I had nothing to wear.
Nothing to wear. I have nothing to wear.
Nothing.